Beijing's top policy office on Hong Kong has condemned 8 straight weekends of protests, saying violent activists must be punished. The Hong Kong and Macau Affairs Office has also reiterated China's firm support for Chief Executive Carrie Lam. It also stressed that the one country, two systems principle is the best way to govern Hong Kong, and that the central government will not change its stance on that. An expert joins us now to share his thoughts on this story. Hui Ching is a research director at the Hong Kong Ming Institute. Hui Ching, firstly, let's pay close attention to Beijing's remarks that were made today. It's believed to be the office's first comments on Hong Kong since 1997. What's the significance of that?
Well, I guess it is very easy for us to imagine, okay, so if the street, the districts, or even the towns of London or New York City, okay, have been occupied as a kind of theater of social movement or political movement for not weeks, but actually months, okay. So what would the White House or the Whitehall would react, right? So I guess it is the right and as well as the responsibility of the central government of the PRC to clearly state its stance. How should it react to what has happened in Hong Kong and what are going to happen in Hong Kong in the near future? And I guess they have clearly state that what they wish to see, how do those Hong Kong people should react in the coming few weeks or months.
Hui Ching, the policy office also blamed the violence in Hong Kong on a few radicals and also continued to criticize alleged foreign interference, saying that, you know, all attempts by Western interference to interfere in Hong Kong would fail. So what's your take on this?
Well, first of all, as we know, Hong Kong is one of the most internationalized cities in the region, right? So I guess it is quite well, of course, it is true that some foreign powers, okay, namely the UK, the US, or even the EU, okay, have clearly stated their stance, okay, their views over the bills, okay, for all these movements in Hong Kong. But actually, I guess it is still difficult to say they have react. I mean, in appropriately or in proportionally to what had happened in Hong Kong today. So if the Chinese government, the central government, want to say that, well, their intervention caused the instability of Hong Kong and all of us would suffer, okay, seriously, more evidence, okay, from the Chinese side should be provided to the international community.
And what do you make of the phrase "a few radicals"? It seems like China is blaming these protests on a small number of people, but the sentiment against the extradition law is a bit more widespread than that, isn't it?
Yes, but I guess well, as I guess most of us would say what have been stated today, okay, this afternoon, are fairly standard, okay, but the tone we could recognize is quite mild, a mild tone. And well, the Chinese government, I mean, the very senior officials, they do not wish to, provoke any uncertainties from happening, okay. So they keep a rather mild tone, and they don't want to confront, okay, the majority of the Hong Kong people, okay. So they have no choice, but they would say they have to say, okay, only a few radicals, okay, caused the problems in Hong Kong nowadays.
Hui Ching, did anything that was said by the policy office stand out for you today? Because the remarks, essentially most of them, have already been reiterated by China.
Yeah. Well, rather standard, right? But still a few points we could make right here. Well, first of all, without a doubt, okay, they have to support the CE, the chief executive, okay, Mrs. Lam Chang and her administration. But at the same time, they clearly support the police force, okay. We know that no matter the police force, we believe they have used brutal force or not, okay, during while they were exercising their tasks, okay, to re-establish, okay, social order. But it is true that the police force, as well as their own families, were under great pressures, okay, and some of their families even blackmailed, okay, from internet or everywhere, all over the town, okay. So the morale of the police force of Hong Kong, okay, particularly for those keep patrolling, okay, on the front line every single day. They were not only under great pressure, but also their morale is pretty low. So at this very critical moment, I guess the central government has clearly show their stance. The police force of Hong Kong is supported by them.
And these mass protests have gone on for 8 weeks now. Just quickly, should we expect them to continue to go on?
Well, first of all, I guess the social leaders as well as the politicians in Hong Kong, they are now thinking, I mean, the problems, okay, might be solved by two ways, okay. Route one, Mrs. Lam Chang, the CE, and her administration might take more political actions, okay, and so as to reestablish a dialogue, okay, with those Hong Kong people on the street, okay, but it is not an easy way. And route two is basically, okay, but not merely, okay, rely on the use of force, okay, rely on the police force, okay. They wish to reestablish the social order first, and after that, they will see what they could do politically or economically.
Okay, thanks very much for that. Hui Ching from Hong Kong's Ming Institute.